Now, I have a guest with me in the studio. Certainly, we're looking at 2020, how it is going to be and what the hopes are, what are the fears for 2020 and all of that. Now, I have with me in the studio journalist Dari Odufowokan. It's nice to have you join me right now.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And I also have with me public affairs analyst Ayodele Adewale. It's nice to have you join me.
Thank you for having me
this morning.
Yeah.
Now, most of Nigerians, gentlemen, will agree that one of the biggest challenges we have is in leadership. Now, Ayodele, I'm going to start with you on this. You have been there, you have been a leader at the point where you were a chairman of one of the third tiers of government. You received a lot of awards from across the nation. Talk to us when it comes to, there's something Nigerians don't understand. When someone is with us, we are friends and so on, and then he gets into power, there's always a difference, there's always a shift between what the passion was. If I go there, this is what I want to change, this is what I want to do. And then when the person gets there, there's always a different, the body language changes as to, okay, are there some difficulties that Nigerians don't see that are in an office, either at the level of the local government or the state government or the federal government? Are there some things there that Nigerians don't get to see? Talk to us about the challenge in leadership there.
Well, there's nothing that we don't see, but we just fail to understand that there's something called work mode. Okay. There's a work mode, there's a social mode. And of course, there's a worship mode. I mean, if you get to the church, you don't go say hi, hi, hello. You know, you have to comport yourself, you're reverent, and all of that. And when you get to a working environment, you also have to switch. So as long as we can appreciate those switching to realities of our environment, then we can appreciate how to coordinate or talk or work with people in any political setting, social or corporate setting, as the case may be. Now, for the leader also, you must have targets. If you come to leadership without a target, you are only going to wander in the office, and time is not waiting for you. Time is not a respecter of anybody. I mean, I was to come here by 6 a.m. I knew I had to also, you know, jolly with my friends, but I had to make a sacrifice. I slept about 1 a.m. And while I drove around the community just to see what was happening, to have a feel, but my nature was telling me that, look, if you don't sleep quickly, you won't get up quickly. So I got up about 4 and had to prepare myself. So, and that's leadership.
So you must set target for yourself.
You must set target and prepare yourself.
Okay. Now, Dari, when it comes to understanding, because in our constituency, we certainly follow up all of these issues. Is it doing well? Are the people happy? You know, it's not for us to judge, but it's the issue of putting this together, you know, to connect the leadership with Nigerians. And that's what one of our constituents, or one of the tenets of the objective of our job is. But from the eyes of Nigerians, at least from your engagement, what are Nigerians really saying when it comes to the hope they have in the government to take them to that promised land that has been promised since 1960, and they have not seen it?
Well, we'll be speaking specifically about this administration. Okay. It's a new year. We have a new government. Yeah. Don't forget, just May 29 last year, this government took a new oath of office.
Mandate.
So it's still new. It's not a year yet, even. So in a new year, we have a new government. I want to say, from engagement with Nigerians, that Nigerians have more hope in this current administration to take them out of the woods. To the promised land, maybe not, but out of the wood we currently are than they've ever had before. The government came with so much promises. And the promises were met with equal expectations by Nigerians. If you recall how we had the change of government in 2015, you will understand why there is so much hope on this government. It behoves on this administration to know that Nigerians saw in this current system, this current change, a chance to break away from the past. I'm not one of those who would praise-sing this administration that it has done all it promised, it has given Nigeria all we need. No. I am one of those who believe strongly that this government is yet to give to us what it owes us. But I'm sincerely one of those who believe that this government has done a lot to change our story. What needs to be done is to permanently enshrine this change. If you look at the war against corruption, it has given Nigerians hope that it is possible for our politicians and public office holders not to steal. How do I mean? A former governor who left office 16 years ago, 12 years ago, was recently sent to jail for offenses committed while he was in office. A former governor who became a senator, who was governor some 16 years ago, also is languishing in jail as we speak.
Does that credit go to the government of the day or it goes to the judiciary?
It goes to the government of the day.
Why is
that? The judiciary did not prosecute those people. The EFCC did and other agencies. The court is not a Father Christmas.
Yeah, but you remember also that the presidential spokesman at the time was saying recently that they don't require, the EFCC doesn't need the body language of the president or doesn't need the note of the president. So if institutions are doing their job.
Let me now say that we had these same institutions years back.
Okay.
If they didn't do it, you see, yes, this is what they are paid to do. Right. And we should not give them undue credit. But when we look at those who are paid to do the same thing for years and didn't do it, and now we are seeing people who are doing it. If we don't credit these ones doing it, people will feel either you do it or not. It doesn't matter.
So in that spirit, should we commend the EFCC?
We should commend the EFCC and commend this current administration for providing the enabling environment. If you have an administration that interferes in the activities of these agencies, prosecutions may be difficult. While saying that, the government of the day must know that to whom much is given, much is expected. If this government fails to lap onto the expectations of Nigerians and turn it to populism, that will see it leading us out of the woods for subsequent administrations to take us on the journey to the promised land, then we will have missed a huge opportunity to solve or start solving the many problems of this country.
Okay. Honorable Adewale, the point is, one other very heavy burden that Nigeria has is its population. A lot of people say, certainly, the population is supposed to be the blessing of the country because that's the market. That's the, when it comes to turnover, when it comes to all of those things, in fact, it's meant to generate a lot of resources, tax, and so on. But when you look at the poverty rate, it will tell you, okay, there's a lot, especially when we've taken over from India as the poverty capital of the world. On the other hand, if you look at out-of-school children, the population, the numbers, if you look at the statistics, is heavy. How much of a burden is our population becoming? Especially when you look at the projection, the United Nations is saying Nigeria is going to be the third most populous country by 2050 after China and India.
Well, if you look at the insecurity indices that we have, the index and all of that, and of course you look at the health issues that confront us, you would say that our population is a burden because we cannot adequately provide and mitigate all of this sundry matter. But for me, a nation, though I still contend with the fact of the 200 million population that they say we have. Dari will attest to it while we were in school during the military era. We were fighting against the military. We had the cause to move from state to state, and we covered the whole nation. So you can't tell me that we're up to 200 million. I stay content to that. Yeah. But the issue is, a 200 million, let's take it as that, population in Nigeria is an advantage for us. In terms of production, in terms of consumption, it's an advantage for us. And now that we have closed our gates, closed the border, it's a more advantage for us. In terms of providing the right technology that we need, science-based services and all of that, it's an advantage. You can imagine you educating a Nigerian that is fully breaded with the right enablement of knowledge for technology, and such a person now goes to a diaspora country, particularly in Africa, is a lot of win-win for us. I mean, the founder of Apple is just one man. The founder of Google is one man. Yahoo is one man. You can imagine the amount of billions that is tied to them. And those billions are also tied to their economy.
So many
they are tied to their economy.
Yeah.
So we need to prepare our population adequately to our own advantage. And as God will have it, we have 3 tiers of government: the federal, the state, the local. Each of them must do what is enshrined in the Constitution. They have their various jurisdiction. They must perform adequately in order for us to be able to take care of ourselves. And now, talking about the anti-graft agency, just to divert a bit, building institutions, I've always told people that EFCC don't need any petition. The only petition they need is the budget. Once the budget is approved, you understand, the ICPC will monitor the budget to the extent that the federal, the state, and the local perform. In the event that they cannot perform, their submission will be sent to EFCC to verify and prosecute. So you don't need any petition. If a local government is getting, in a year, over 2 billion naira, you just have to look at their budget. How have you performed? If you have performed beyond, below expectation, to the extent that substandard materials that are used, you go to the court. And the judiciary also must be made to work actively. And I use the word cautiously, actively, so that we don't have long trials in court. By the time you are doing this, our system will move, our system will work, and our population will be an advantage to us.
Okay. Now, let me come back to you, Dari. Now, the areas that Nigeria can beat her chest to say we are, running things, may be likely. The area of academics, where Nigerians are doing a lot of things outside the shores of this country, or maybe in sports, where so many Nigerians in Europe and in Asia are doing beautifully well, and so on. When it comes to invention, so many people at the grassroots, they've come up with so many wonderful things. But unfortunately, when it comes to translating that to the prosperity of the country, it is not the same. There has been campaigns of, patronize made in Nigeria this, patronize made in Nigeria that, and so on. When it comes to that made in Nigeria, whether it is in academics, whether it is in invention, whether it is in anything, in science and all of that, where do you think we're missing it?
We're missing it because we are not sincere.
Okay.
When we shout made in Nigeria, who champions that? Those in offices. Are they using Nigeria? Are they patronizing what is made in Nigeria? The answer is no. You see, it takes more than just talk. Talk is cheap, as they say. But action is quite expensive and instructive. If you want me to tow your path, you will tell me, tomorrow we are going to TVC. And I say, okay. If you say tomorrow you will go to TVC, I may decide not to go. But when you say we are going, I expect you to lead the way. And if tomorrow comes and you are lying on your bed beside me, you don't stand up, I'll as well continue to sleep. That is what our leaders have been doing. They've been telling us, we will use made in Nigeria. Yet they don't use made in Nigeria. And this is taking away a lot from us. I may not be one of the greatest fans of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, but one area I admired him all through his 8 years in this area of using made in Nigeria. The way and manner he promoted the Adire. Today, go abroad, we see Adire on display in the most unlikely places. Europeans come into this country for festivals, tourists, and what you find on them is Adire because they know it. It is when they get here you will begin to introduce other fabrics to them. But the Adire, they could go to Wall Street, go to anywhere, and procure it even in their own country. And they come with it already made. So our leaders must know that to sell Nigeria, we must first buy Nigeria. For you to sell a product, you must first buy. It's just like somebody who runs a school, a secondary school, for instance, and you have 3-4 children of secondary school age, and they all attend another school, not yours. And you sit down complaining that parents don't bring their own children to you. You must be a joker.
Something
so
is wrong
for
somewhere.
you to sell your product, you must first buy your own product.
All right.
Our leaders leave this country, engage in medical tourism, yet we complain that our health facilities are in shambles. Our leaders pick the best of their children, send them to school abroad, yet we complain that our institution system over the years have been in the doldrum, but when Nigerians go abroad, they perform very well. Our leaders look at our local products, shoes, bags, and they don't buy them. But when they go abroad, they go on shopping spree, and they bring those things. Do you know what that do to those producing local fabrics? They now make shirts in Aba and put made in Italy.
So that at least they can buy
it. To match with. So we have destroyed the first basis of selling Nigeria.
Okay.
Because we are not buying Nigeria. If our leaders lead the way, I assure you, Nigerians will follow because made in Nigerian things are obviously cheaper. So it helps us to save more. But when you want to go to a party where I want to go to a party where Ayodele will be, and I know he will come in his
designers
shoes. I'd rather get my Abba shoe to be, the label will be changed to made in Italy.
So you can meet up with...
So that at least he won't have to touch my shoe. Just mere looking at it will be like we're at par.
Are you saying that Ayodele doesn't patronize video Nigeria?
I've not said so. That's an example of a Nigerian leader seated here. But I can tell you that for the much I know, he's been my friend since school days, all through his chairmanship. I can't recall seeing you on TV wearing a suit. I said that to somebody.
He does it from the days of...
And if this is what he has been wearing, nobody should be deceived. This is made in Nigeria.
All right. Now, before we go, the point there is... Okay, I'm told that we have to end it up here now. I wanted to ask questions from some of the inventions in Nigeria. But thank you very much, Honorable Ayodele, for coming on the program this morning. And Dari, thank you so much for coming as well. Pleasure. Okay.